Hello, good morning. How are you today? My name is Praise for Warware. I'm super excited to be coming your way all the way from Praise for International Studios, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm super excited to be back, to what we do 3 a.m. PF things. This is episode 114. I'm so grateful for the gift of you. I've been away for a number of days simply because we had a technical issue. So I've not come live in like 3 days, and I want to thank you so much for your amazing messages, and thank you so much for what you have, all the messages you've sent, all your well wishes, checking on me. I'm super grateful for those of you on Instagram, those of you on Facebook, and those of you on YouTube. Thank you so much. Now, what we've been talking about. We started a series on effective marital communication, and that has been what we've been talking about. And I'm super excited that the series is helping many of you. Today, I'm going to tone down a bit on different personalities and their communication style, and how they can be helped, and how they can also help themselves to effectively communicate better with people. So today, I'm going to be focused on the intimidating communicator. Now, many years ago, we created a model for personality called the brand of car model. So we have four basic personality types. We have the intimidating Homer, the creative convertible, the dependable truck, and the systematic Ford. Now, we have said consistently that you are on a journey that require four different brand of cars. That's everyone you're going to relate with. Your husband, your wife, your children, your family members, they will have, a bit of maybe dominant in one of these brand of cars, or they will have multiple, a mixture of the two or three or four. Now, that if you understand people's personality, you understand why they act the way they do. The platinum rule says treat people the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated. Unfortunately, not many of us, willing to stoop to conquer, seek to understand before being understood. Not many of us understand the dynamics of the platinum rule. Now, so we say that you are on a journey that requires four different brand of cars. All the breakdown you've experienced is not knowing how to effectively maneuver this cars or maneuver yourself. And so you hurt people because of your personality, not understanding that people are beings, people are not things, and there is what you need to do with communication to win with people. Like I mentioned, that your words, the purpose of your words is not even just to talk. The purpose of your words is to create. And you need to predetermine ahead of time if you want to create hell or heaven. That I gave you a task to say, ask the people in your life if your communication is creating heaven or is creating hell. That when people finish talking to you, do they feel stupid? Do they feel less than who they are? Or they look at you and they are clapping for you because you have helped them effectively, become better? Or what exactly do they feel about you? Does your word create bliss, or your word create chaos? Does your communication create heaven, or does it create hell? What does your communication portray about you? Are you representing heaven, or you're representing hell? If your communication is reels of anger, and it diminishes their personality, diminishes who they are, then you need to watch it. Now, I am not saying you can get angry, but when your anger becomes perpetual, when you talk to everyone anyhow and you talk them down, then you need to watch it. You can no longer hide on the personality type to perpetrate evil, and destroy people's esteem, and you say, but this is who I am. No, that is not who you are, because you do not talk to a military personnel like that, right? A lot of people say that they can, but I don't know how to talk. It's not true. When they meet authority figures, they suddenly develop the capacity to communicate effectively. But why don't we treat people right and make that our default response everywhere we go? Every breakdown you have experienced in life is not knowing how to effectively maneuver the scars. So you have the intimidating armor, you have the creative convertible, you have the dependable truck, and you have the systematic Ford. Now, I'm lifting this from the model that was developed by engineering and development, where I serve as a lead researcher, And so you can feel free, if you want to work as a family life practitioner, to take the only family life certification course that exists right now in Africa. And we've done that research, so it's not blabbing. That's the only certification program that exists at the moment, right? You can take that course if you visit school.iampraisforward.com. Now, you cannot afford to drive any of these personalities the way you want to drive. You must learn to treat them the way they were configured to be treated. So today, I will focus on the intimidating owner, or otherwise known as the intimidating communicator, because you have certain people who are naturally intimidating in their communication. Now you will understand why they are like that, because oftentimes an intimidating communicator has a hidden fear that is not expressed. So they look confident, they look tough, but there is a hidden fear that has not been properly externalized. Now, so it looks like, oh, this person is bold, this person is tough, this person is this. But when you understand their inner fear, and when they also understand what they're afraid of, and they're able to effectively appropriate what they're afraid of, they will improve in their communication, because oftentimes they do not know the difference between the workplace and the home. Now, so at work, if you have staff that destroying your brand, messing up things after you have taught them, sometimes you could get very angry, even though we can actually master that anger, right, and still communicate, because we don't need auditory, or we don't need auditory power, or we do not need to shout to communicate authority. But that's the way many of us have been structured to communicate authority, that you need to scream and shout, right? Because I can actually whisper, "You are fired," and you will still be fired, but we need to shout oftentimes, very, very upset, which is not bad if it helps you excel and if it's a coping mechanism. But when it becomes your default mode, it becomes something you need to work. Now, so the intimidating Homer is a personality. If you're this, then you need to identify yourself this morning. The intimidating Homer is that person who is like the king of the road. He wants to be king everywhere he goes. If this person wants to be in control and wants to take charge, is that you? You always want to be in control and take charge. You are a workaholic. You are fits of anger, right? So you get into too many projects. You are achievement driven. Is that you? Or are you married to this person? You cannot tolerate delay. You are involved in too many projects. You can do one project at a time. It's usually 4, 5, 6 at the same time, and you find a way to be effective. The only problem is you bring your aggression home and you unleash it on your loved ones, right? If you're working with this person or you're married to this person, you need to be patient around them. You need to serve them, and you need to be competent. Right? Are you this personality who sees life as a battle? Right? You are not sensitive to feelings, because you're not even sensitive to your own feelings. You are a workaholic, and you can work yourself to death. But you forget that not everyone can work at your pace. Now, I am, my work rate is very high, but over time I have come to understand, there was a time I used to be very frustrated with the people around me because I feel they're not walking up to my pace. But, one day my mentor said to me, "Praise, have you forgotten that some of them, it's not been long they left school, but you have been working for several years. So there is a gap already, but you are not paying attention to that gap." And you see, when I recognize that, I have to apologize to some of them, right? And today we have a better relationship now. So are you the person who is insensitive to feelings, right? Because you just think that life is, and you forget that your siblings, your family members, your wife, your children may not belong to your personality type, or your co-workers may not belong to your personality type. So you're expecting everyone to live up to your expectation when they are not you. Now, are you the person who fears being taken advantage of? Because the biggest problem when it comes to communication with the intimidating Homer is the fear being taken advantage of. So that fear is hidden, is innate, it's not externalized. So their mouth is very leather, that when they speak to you, they can almost crush your esteem in a way for them to find expression to show that I am in charge. Now, if you're dealing with this person, you must be persistent and serve them effectively to relate with them, because they love authority and they love freedom. Now, look at their profile. We call them Mr. Macho. He is BSc, MSc, XYZ. It says to you, I am Mr. or Mrs. Macho. A lot of people think I am too hard and strict, but it's because they don't understand that I want to be effective and produce results that will make the world a better place. I may not have time for parties and autocratic, but I have feelings and really want to change as long as you're willing to help me. But above all, I choose to accept myself because the me you see is as a result of my purpose. So they excuse themselves by saying, but I'm producing result. And honestly, they produce result. So if you need someone to work as a dogged leader, natural leader, who will bully people into producing result, that is the intimidating armor. The problem is how many people would have died emotionally for the intimidating armor to leave, because they don't even build proper friendship except you are like them. And when they build friendship, sometimes it's because they want to use you or they want to get something out of you, right? So one of the things you need to learn if you're an intimidating armor is to appreciate and value the power of friendship, and to understand that life is not all about projects, that there is more to life, that life is built for connection, and we need to connect with people. And there is no way you can connect effectively with someone that you have diminished their esteem. So if they're married, they will destroy the esteem of their wife or their husband because they want to get something across. Then at night, they want to have sex, or the next minute, because they're also very arrogant when it comes to saying, I am sorry. Now, what are their strengths? Now, they make a lot of excuses, for their challenge when it comes to communication, because they just believe that, hey, after all, I'm producing results. And truly, their results can so intimidate you that it will shut you up. So you hear statements like, results compel submission. That is the intimidating. Results does not often compel submission. The process of producing your result can be filled with murder, wherein you have killed too many people to produce your result. Does that result still compel submission, right? Because when the process is not ecological, when the process has not helped the cause of humanity, then how can you say that your result compels submission, right? So they make statements like, only fools doubt proofs, right? Trust me, your proof, the process of producing your proof may be very subjective. So when you are an intimidating armor, or you are dealing with an intimidating communicator, they are very blunt, they are decisive. So they are very blunt. They say things the way they are. If you are stupid, they are going to say you are very stupid right now. They're going to, shout and scream on you when goals are not met. They are decisive. They have a high work rate. They are strong-willed. So when it comes to argument, for them, they want to win the argument. They are not really interested in communication. They are not interested in listening to you. They are interested in passing out their point and ensure you embrace their point. So if you want to win an argument with them, you are in for a ride. They don't mind to bully you, because whatever stands in their way, they're going to crush, right? So they will do anything, manipulate, blackmail, just for them to win this argument, including sometimes revealing secrets that should not be revealed, right? They're strong-willed, they enjoy challenges, they work well under pressure. Whatever is going to take them to prove their case that they are above you, that they need to win this argument, they're going to do it. So they may even play dirty just to win. Now, what are their weaknesses? Too many projects. They are impatient. So if you're an intimidating armor, you need to understand that impatience comes naturally to you, and they have low people skill, right? Because they want to win, so they trample on people. If you're an intimidating husband, you need to understand this morning that your communication family members, because you are bringing work mode home, and you do not understand that the rules of engagement at work is a bit different from the rules of engagement at home, right? So the way you talk to your staff is the way you're talking to your spouses. You need to tone it down and calm down. They're strong-willed, they enjoy challenges, they work well under pressure, right? So I've talked about their weaknesses. Low people skill, they could be power drunk, right? When you put them in a position of authority, they are likely going to trample on everyone. That the day they are relieved of that or that position, people can actually celebrate, right? But you see, they get everyone better at the end of the day if you can understand them, right? But at what cost, will they have done this, right? So they overstep authority, they're anger prone, insensitive to feeling. Now, the greatest fear of an intimidating communicator is they actually think that you are going to take advantage of them. That's why they do what they do. Oftentimes, they don't even know. They fear being taken advantage of. So they think if they intimidate you, talk, tongue lash you, you will be afraid of them because they thrive in worship. The intimidating communicator wants to be worshipped. So they do not know that you don't need to turn people down or trash people or destroy their esteem with your communication for them to actually honor you. Now, so the fear being taken advantage of, you need to know that why you scream on your children, why you scream on your spouse, why you shout and you talk them down, is simply because there's an inner fear in you of being taken advantage of. What motivates them? They are motivated by power and authority, risk and new challenges, freedom to oversee others. Can you see this? So when they want freedom to oversee others, they want their result to compel your submission in a way that when they sense that you are not submitting, they will likely bully you. They love people compliance and accomplishment, even though they struggle to obey people, except they are dealing with fellow intimidating armors. Now, what stresses them, this is why they shout and where they shout. They express fits of rage and anger when goals are not met. So if you have agreed on timelines to do something and you don't do it, their default response is anger, right? And when they are angry, you cannot fully trust what will come out of their mouths. Matter of fact, they demonstrate the kind of rage that makes them, for lack of a better word, look like psychos, right? So they experience rage when goals are not met. So if you want to help them really as a spouse, when you agree on something, make sure you deliver to time on what is. And you see, when you are that kind of person who delivers and who serves them consistently, they will actually literally give their lives to you. But they need to understand that you cannot always have it that way and your way all the time. So when people default, you need to give them room to make their mistakes without tongue lashing them. I'm not talking about people who now perpetually make mistakes. I'm talking about a one-up, right? You need to calm down and realize that this person is a first offender, or seek to even find out why are they making mistake. Maybe they've not mastered something, right? So they express fits of rage around when goals are not met. And how do they recover? They engage in physical exercise. So you can see they need to let off a lot of steam. Now, here are the areas you need. If you are an intimidating communicator, you need to develop listening skills. Number two, in fact, listening skill is critical because you need to learn your ears without thinking that you need to correct or marshal any point, because they're always in a flight and fight mode because they want to win. You don't even have to respond. Sometimes just hold people's hand and listen. Now, they need to learn to appreciate people as beings, because oftentimes the intimidating communicator is about perception. They see people as things. So they talk them down and talk anyhow at them. But when they begin to see people as beings that must be respected and must be nurtured, which is why we ask them, create a perceptual code for everyone you need to interact with, and rehearse and practice how you're going to relate with them and the kind of speech or communication that is required to get the best out of your perceptual code. They need to be less commanding and domineering because they literally run a barracks. Go there, do this, do that. They are used to that when they find themselves in a place where they can't dish out instruction, they feel less than who they are. They need to allow people make their mistakes, right? So as an intimidating communicator, you need to understand that mistakes are part of life, right? But your role is to help people master what you're teaching. Now, I am not talking about laggards who perpetually make mistakes that is costly to the organization. I am talking about, first-time offenders or people who have genuinely not mastered something, or something is going on in their life. So you need to allow people make mistakes. Sometimes call people to your office, call them privately, and seek to find out what is happening in their life, because people can be making a mistake because there's a lot happening in their life, which is why you need to lend them your ears. You cannot bully someone whose spirit is crushed into performance. They're not going to perform, right? So you need to allow people make mistakes. You need to develop personal relationship skills. You need to know that it doesn't come naturally to you. What comes naturally to you is bullying. So you need to develop personal relationship skills. You need to find a session where you have thought, maybe working with a therapist on how to be friendly, approachable, and intentionally caring, and how to carry others along, right? I remember my father was an intimidating communicator. He's a blunt communicator, and he says it. He said, but I'm very blunt. I say things the way they are. Let me tell you, it's a weakness when you say things the way they are, because it's you are talking, that is saying things the way they are. Communication is understanding the season, understanding the plot, understanding the style, understanding the person you want to talk to, understanding how they love to receive what you want to say, understanding the best time, the best place, the best style. Is called general communication awareness, right? It's audience mastery that a lot of us have not mastered our audience. We just open our mouth to talk and say, you know what, but I'm blunt. I said, I do not call white black. Excuse me. Life is not white or black. There are shades of gray that you do not know. We say that all that you see is all that you see, but not all you see is all there is to see, right? And they live within the realm of white, black, and white. But you see, when they want to manipulate their way, they violate those rules. So you need to be intentionally caring, approachable, and very friendly, because people hide from them, and people never tell them secrets because they can blow off that lead when it's a crisis moment. Now, but you see, you find them in pioneering, they're executives, they're entrepreneurs, team leaders. They work in places that require dogged leadership, freedom from supervision, and immediate delivery. Now, so you can see the way when they are talking to you. Now, these are weaknesses, but you see, if you want to win with them, you need to understand this. They say, don't argue with me. Never argue with an intimidating owner, because you're not going to win. In fact, what I say to their spouses is, if your husband is an intimidating owner and he perpetually gets angry, don't be upset by what upset them. Instead, create a new meaning to what they are doing, and imagine that they have been selected to act in a movie called The Angry Spouse, right? And they are rehearsing. So see all their tantrums as rehearsal. If you visualize it that way, because your mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is simulated, and your mind is at the mercy of interpretation. If you interpret them as someone in location, their tantrums become a scene that you rehearse, and their rehearsal scene, and you watch it and you are smiling because you have developed a bulletproof where their bullets anymore, right? In talking to them, you want to be brief and go straight to the point. You need to be serious. You need to suggest ways for them to achieve results. Don't just bring up problems. What do we do to solve the problem? Now, you will win them for life. And trust me, they have people can win them, and people make them feel you are in control, because the intimidating communicator actually is most vulnerable when he feels he's in control. Now, they may not visit or call you because they are too busy. So you can see them. They see themselves as bold, but they can come across as very arrogant. They see themselves as competitive. They may be combative. They are risk-taking. They may be reckless. They see them as determined, including in communication. They could be very reckless in their words, but they say, I'm determined to win this. I'm determined to marshal my point. And this of what importance is marshaling your point when people feel bullied, when people feel insulted, right? Even when they are speaking, they can talk you down and make you feel less than who they are. So when people come with a contrary opinion, they would hardly appreciate that contrary opinion, because life is not always this or that. Life is often this and that. They are very independent, but they're seen as autonomous. They are outspoken, but oftentimes they are tactless, actually, right? Because of what essence is bearing your mind. When the person you are bearing your mind with is hurting and does not even have the capacity to appropriate what they're saying, what you're saying. They are decisive, but they look dictatorial. They are assertive, but they look pushy. They are pioneering, they look predatory. They are confronting, but they can be offensive. There's nobody they can't talk to, and that's also a weakness there. But I can't. So they have people who have moved away from their lives who could have helped, because they have not mastered communication, right? Everyone wants to stay around people who make them feel great. the intimidating communicator wants to say what they want to say. In fact, they say things like, I don't care whose ox is God. That is a wrong statement. You sometimes need to care whose ox is God, because if you don't care whose ox is God, when an armed robber comes with a rifle, you will not care whose ox is God. You will say to the armed robber, you are a thief. No, you know how to adjust when you see a military man, but you are not willing to adjust when you see other people, right? When something is at stake, they adjust. They are very ruthless instead of being but they see themselves as strategic, right? So they can fire people almost immediately, but they need to understand that there are ways to help people leave your organization without making them feel bad or terrible about themselves. They are self-assured, but could be sometimes conceited. They are goal-oriented, but they can be obsessive. And in their communication, they are so obsessive, they come at you without giving you space. They see themselves as challenging. Meanwhile, they are intimidating. Now, if you are an intimidating communicator, here are 7 tips I have for you this morning. I want to appreciate all of you who are joining from North America and those of you who are joining from Africa. I know this time may not be convenient, but you guys keep showing up on YouTube, on social, on Instagram, and on Facebook. I appreciate you. Now, what are the 7 tips that can help an intimidating communicator get better? Number 1, if you are in this personality type, you need to predetermine the perceptual code you want to use for everyone. So it's a statement like, every human being is a door, right? My mentor said to me that people are opportunities, people are not interaction. So when you see every human being as a door that can lead you to where you want to go, how will you communicate with them? A lot of people have had doors closed against them by their communication, because people look at them and say, this guy is too brash and rash. He cannot be trusted with this position because he's going to leak secrets, right? So as an intimidating communicator, you need to create a perceptual code, which is a general descriptive word for every human being you're going to meet. So if everyone is an open door that can serve you, you will realize that they will adjust. They will no longer shout and scream, because they know screaming will close the door. And because intimidating communicators love to win, if they see the person as a project, the person is an opportunity that can get them somewhere, it will change their persona, it will change the way they communicate, and they will begin to communicate gently and listen more. Number 2, predetermine the signal you want to always send and announce it to people within your workplace. So, for example, what signal do you want to send? If you mention CNN, you think of news. If you mention Super Sport, you think of sport. If you mention Pelé, you think of football. If you mention Ronaldo, you think of football. If you mention Serena Williams, you think of lawn tennis. If you mention Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, you think of boxing. If your name is mentioned, what feedback do you want people to give about you? So for the intimidating armor, you need to sit down and ask, what signal do I want to? So if you want to send a signal of chaos, or what you can even do and ask people, when I come into your world, what do you think about me, right? If the signal, whatever the dominant people say, is the signal you have been sending. So you want to predetermine, what signal do I want people to send? I want to come across as an understanding boss. If you want to come across as an understanding boss, that is a role you need to play. What behavior do you need to put up to elicit that feedback from people? So whenever I'm angry, what do I need to do in a way to be loyal to the signal I want to send, right? When you ask that question, you begin to ask this role and repeat it till you master it, and you create people around you who can help you and feed you back and say, whenever I'm about to fly off the handle, what do you need to do to calm me down? Your people actually are the ones who can help you. Number 3, you need to appoint your accountability team who will keep you in check. So you have said, I want to always send the signal of bliss, that every time praise is remembered, people will say, wow, praise was very nice and calm with me. So every time you begin to look uncalm, or agitated, who are the people in your life who can hold you in check? Whether they are your junior staff or they are your spouses, what must they do to signal that you are going out of line? Do you understand? So you need to appoint that accountability team, because without them, you will maintain your way of life and you will not get better, and you need to be committed to it. Number 4, You need to create your trigger and response code and communicate it ahead of time. So, for example, if you are about to get upset, what must people say? Maybe you need to say, three of you, once I begin to get upset, just look at me and say, oh God, you are great, or praise, you are great, or PF, you are great, or sir, do you need some wine? Right? Once they tell you, do you need some wine? Right? Or when you need to find something you love, you love, right? So maybe you love your wife, or you love your first child, and his name is Caris, right? So when you are angry, someone must be in your life who sends a signal that has anchored your bliss. Say, Caris is on her way, right? That, once you hear Caris is on her way, your anger calms down. So you need to create that trigger that when you begin to argue, someone will say, Caris is around, sir, right? And that should calm you down, to remind you that you're already getting back into the fit of mode that you want to avoid, right? And your response immediately must be, what must your response be? You need to predetermine that ahead of time and communicate it so that you can be held accountable. Trust me, I know it's not easy on you, but you can change, because your words must not kill people. Intimidating someone can talk to someone, and the person will go and commit suicide. That's not what you want. Your words and your communication must create heaven. It must not create hell for people. Number 5, attack the space between stimulus and response. It's been said that between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space lies your liberty and your freedom. Now, so there is a space between your trigger and the anger. You need to attack that space. How do you attack the space? Every time you get very upset, once they mention Caris is here and they activate your trigger, right? And you must empower them to activate the trigger, right? The next thing you need to do is create a feeler, right? So what do I say to people to do? You can read the Lord's Prayer if you're a Christian, or if you're a Muslim, you can read a chosen scripture. So, for example, you're very angry and you should get angry and you should be leather. Now, read the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Now, a prayer you recite while you're angry. So, the process of reciting it will adjust your breath and it will calm you down. Or you can do a countdown from 60 down to 0. That is a wonderful feeler that has helped a lot of my clients. So 60, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55. You do it till you count down to 0. That process would have calmed you down and adjusted your breath, adjusted your anger in a way that what comes out of your mouth next will be something edifying and something from a position of empowered state and not a disempowered state, which is the state of anger, right? So attack that space and master it. To say, before I get angry, I will read the Lord's Prayer, right? If you do that for your spouse, you do that with your partner, you will understand that, they are human beings and they deserve to be heard and they deserve to say what they want to say, and that will calm you down. Number 6, you need to name your aggression for what it is, right? What is my aggression? What does it look? When next you're angry, ask people to record you, right? Maybe by phone, ask them to record you and play it back to yourself. You will see that you look like Amadioa if you're from Africa, or you look like Shango, or you look like a devil, you look like a demon. Your anger season makes you look like another spirit has possessed you. Now, this is good for intimidating communicators because they hate to be controlled. So the moment they see that is another spirit that is controlling you, it helps them adjust, right? So keep a mirror in front of you. Every time you get angry, go and look into the mirror. You will see how ugly, how terrifying you become, that your children run away from you. The question is, do you want your children, your spouse, to run away from you? Do you want the people in your life to have a truth and they keep it away from you because they don't know how you're going to handle it? Do you want people around you to be pretentious, right, and not be themselves around you? If that is what you want, continue. If that's not what you want, then you need to change. So name your aggression for what it is. Your aggression can be a nuclear weapon. Now, is a nuclear weapon good for people? A nuclear weapon is destructive. You can name it weapon of mass destruction, which means you contain a weapon of mass destruction. Is that how you want, who you want to be? If that's not who you want to be, then you need to change it. And the last thing there is that you need to create what we call an open day. Open day is that day of the week in which everyone working with you is free to feed you back, right? Once in a week. If you want to truly overcome this communication style that is aggressive, blunt, and intimidating, you need to feed people, let people feed you back Open day is a day in your office or in your family where they feed you back about how they think about it with us. I mean, when we do our open day, they will feed us back. I don't like the way you talk. When you talk, you make me cry. When you talk to me, you make me feel less than who I am. That's not what I want. And nobody wants to do that, but you need to get them to feed you back. And you must make a commitment, because the rule in open day is: one, nobody must get angry; two, nobody must be defensive; three, whatever against the person who said it; and number four, if what is said is significant to any member of your family, you need to change it, right? Nobody must get angry. Nobody must be defensive. Nobody must use whatever I said against the person who has said it. And number four, if it is significant to your member of your family, you need to change it. Wherein your wife feels slighted, or the people around you feel down, or they feel their esteem is being trampled upon by your venom, the venom from your mouth, when they are recipients of your anger and is destroying their self-esteem, you need to take a feedback, and you now need to ask them, how would you want me to correct you? When you go do what is wrong, would you want me to do, right? And hear them out. Whatever they say is their preferential way of being corrected and disciplined. And you need to align with their code to say, okay, their person is not everyone who responds to correction the same way. Based on this personality, this is how this person wants corrected. This person can take blunt communication. This person, blunt communication will kill him. This person, blunt communication will make him pretend. So, for example, blunt communication will make a creative compatible, which we'll talk about tomorrow. They will make them pretentious because the environment is too judgmental. So they will need to pretend to align with your worldview as an intimidating communicator, right? For a dependable truck, blunt communication will make them withdraw to their shell, right? And for a systematic fraud, blunt communication can make them think less of who they are, and some of them can actually commit suicide if care is not taken, right? So you need to understand that people are different, they are not the same, and your style of communication cannot be the same, but you can always win when you create a right perceptual. Every human being is a royalty. How would you talk to a royalty? You can never go wrong when you create an empowered communication code. I will end today with a statement that I found online. Is by Anonymous. The biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand. We often listen to reply. The biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand. We listen to reply. The question is, are you listening to reply, or are you listening to understand? You need to learn to listen to better understand people, because they are communicating their life to you. But because your mind is fixated on what you want, you forget to listen to them. You need, after all, God has given 2 ears and 1 mouth to show that you need to listen twice as much as you speak. I hope this has helped you today. If you're an intimidating communicator, please go to the people in your life today, apologize to them, let them feed you back, and tell them to help you, that you want to be better. You want your words to be seasoned with grace, that to be seasoned with salt, that it might minister grace to everyone that hears you. Our words can either create heaven or hell. Our words can nurture and pump people up to become the best version of themselves. That is where you want to be. You don't want to be part of people who tear people down and they see the worst of themselves through you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, keep loving and keep living, and know that I truly care about you. Now, if you're listening to me, you can actually avail yourself of the combo we have for this month, which is the Whiskey combo, how to raise a whiskey. You can get into school.iampraisefulwear.com and avail yourself of this amazing material. Till then, I see you tomorrow. Keep loving, keep living, and remember that we're here to save our world, and nothing can stop us. Have a fantastic day and have a good time. Bye-bye. For